Bernard at 10, was that a matter of necessity given the injury front, and is he right to go?
Noah's no good. And we would like to stick with him, get a bit of continuity. But it's fantastic having Bernard as an option. He's done really well. He's got his head around things quickly. He was excellent last week around driving the opposition stuff, and he's fit in really well. His experience, his voice. It's been a good transition, and he's ready to go.
And Jake Gordon at halfback, obviously those two lads had played at the Tars many moons ago. Was there any thinking with that, or was just Nick needed a week on the bench?
Yeah, look, I think Whitey wasn't at his best last week. He started every test this year and had a massive load. I thought Jake was excellent off the bench last week, and so he gets a deserved chance to start.
Just lastly from me on the 10th front, do you see Bernard as an option on the spring tour? I mean, you've got a couple of guys that are sort of out now. What's the latest with James O'Connor? I believe he injured himself recently.
Yeah, and he got injured first action on the weekend for Brothers, and we haven't had a full assessment around the state of that, but it was a lower leg injury, potentially syndesmosis, so we'll find out the extent of that over the next couple of days.
Just on the halves, I think it's nearly exactly a year since Quade Cooper came in that Gold Coast test and kicked you to victory. I'm just wondering, have you noticed a similar impact that Bernard's had since arriving in this group than what Quade had?
Yes, pretty similar situation, because you remember Quade came in and watched all the All Black tests, from the stand before he got his opportunity in South African. So Bernard's been able to do the same sort of thing, get in the mix, get his head around, and contribute big time. And look, they're very similar characters. Impressive, fantastic work ethic. Real massive contribution off the field around meetings, and very strong tactical understanding. So it's been great having them in, and we look forward to seeing them put that on the park on Thursday.
Just on that back row, it's a bigger back row than what you have usually been selected. Is that kind of response to that Sydney test and losing that breakdown in collision battle there?
Yeah, it's got a bit to do with collisions. I think Fraser's been excellent, especially from a continuity point of view, and the two tests where we've gone forward. He's played a big hand. Maybe not the same impact defensively and in the contact areas where we've struggled. And Pete Samu, we've toyed with starting him a number of times. He's been excellent for us off the bench and delivers every time. And so we've got Fraser to bring energy and hopefully get his hand on a bit of pill late in the fixture.
G'day, Dave. It's Justin Chadwick here. Just back on O'Connor, how big a blow is it? It seems like you guys have been spending so long getting him up and running, and then just unlucky on the injury front.
Yeah, we'll know a bit more once we get the full extent of the injury. We were keen for him to go back, play a bit of club footy, and put a bit of pressure on us from there. Obviously, Brothers' season's over anyway, so frustrating for him.
Yeah, how's he holding up mentally, I guess, with all of these hurdles?
He's a pretty positive person, and so I think there's no point in panicking until we get the full extent of the injury.
And on the sheer amount of changes this week, was there any fear, I guess, that it is too much disruption?
Some of it's been forced on us. I guess that's the thing around playing a test on Thursday. It's a couple of less days for Hunter and Noah to recover from head knocks, and so they're both out. And obviously Rory Arnold's gone back to Japan, so they were forced us anyway. And then others have made changes based on form and quality performances off the bench.
Dave, is Taniela Tupou one of those who's injured, or is that a form thing?
No, he's injured.
Right, okay. And also, what do you make of the Hoskin Satutu replacing Adi Severe for the All Blacks? What do you make of that back row and then Akira Ioane off the bench?
Yeah, we predicted that. Obviously with Brodie Retallick back in the mix, and Scott Barrett's been a big performer for them. It gives them a powerful line out, especially a defensive line out. And he's a good player, Scott Barrett, so easily adept at 6 or lock. And like Hoskins, like for like with Artie, so there's plenty of depth in that team, and we figured that's the way they go.
And just the roller coaster year that they've had, I guess you've both been quite similar in some up and down performances, but do you really sense an opportunity given the losses that they've had in 2022?
Yeah, look, I think everything that's happened prior to Thursday counts for little. It's going to be our ability to perform at our best, and what we know, we need to be at our best to have a chance against the All Blacks and have a chance against anyone this year. When we've performed well, we're confident we can knock over anyone. But we've got to play at our best and force the All Blacks to be below their best.
Sorry, Dave, just on that midweek test, a two-part question, because first, that injured trio would have been more likely than be available if this was a Saturday test, and I guess how's the preparation change, having a Thursday test and only being in camp for, I believe, 5 or 6 days?
The guys would have been closer. Obviously, we had to rule them out last Friday. Because once they got past 6 days, still with symptoms, that's it. So it would have given them, us till about Monday to make a decision around them. So, and Taniela probably not anyway. We're pretty confident we'll get them up for the second test. And then from a preparation point of view, obviously initially it was a Saturday test. It's changed to Thursday for obvious reasons, and so we just came in at the same sort of time that we would have. Everyone assembled on Friday, and we've had a full training week.
Dave, what were the key messages out of that review? Some of the guys said there was a few hard truths. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard were those truths, and what were the key messages from you and the coaching staff?
Look, there's a number of things, which we've already talked about. We lost the collisions on both sides of the ball, so we weren't able to slow down their ball or steal much. We weren't able to get a lot of go forward and quick ball, and struggled to kick where we wanted to kick. We kicked out a lot, and that slowed the game down and gave them a chance to get their maul going. I thought, we defended them all really well. Our scrum and line out were pretty solid, which is key against a team like South Africa, but you got to dominate the collision area to give yourself a chance. And, we got down there, and we always felt we could put them under a bit of heat, but spent a lot of time at the wrong end of the field without the ball or losing collisions at key times. So nothing changes this week. They're all key. The All Blacks definitely kicked a lot more last week. I think maybe Joe Schmidt's influence, they carried a lot more off 9 and were a lot more direct, earning the right to play to width, and so we'd expect something similar this weekend.
There are a few Wallabies greats come in and speak to the guys. What was the gist of their message? And from your couple of Bledisloe campaigns with the team, what have you learnt heading into these couple of games?
I think the key message from the guys who last won it, 2002, they often spoke about accountability and how tough they were on each other, and the high expectations around how they trained and how they played. And they talked about, because they're from slightly different eras at times, and so, they spoke about how, maybe they were a little bit inconsistent, but, they were able to get a similar side on the field. They end up with a lot of players, world-class standard, and, they were able to play a game that was high skill, high tempo, and, so it was a very good side in around late 90s, early 2000s, and so it was just good to have them in and share, how they felt. The last ones to win the Bledisloe Cup, and we've what we know. You play the All Blacks, you turn it over, or you kick poorly at your peril. So that's been a focus for us.
Anything else for Dave, guys?
I was going to say really quickly, Dave, Taniela, is there any doubt for him next week? Like, how long do you think that calf is?
No, well, look, we think he'll be right. He's like we tested him on what day was it? Sunday, I think, and he failed it then. So he needed to be right to train this week. So like the medics, so he'll be close next week. There's no guarantees he's going to be available, but he'll be very close.